Let's jump into a summary of Evil Under the Sun by Agatha Christie. A heatwave presses down on the Jolly Roger Hotel, a secluded seaside resort on a small Devon island off the southern coast of England. It's the kind of place where upper-middle-class holidaymakers lounge, gossip, and pretend to relax, and where Hercule Poirot, seeking a quiet break, finds instead murder. From the moment Poirot arrives, he notices tensions in the air, social tensions, romantic friction, and emotional undercurrents that ripple just beneath the surface of polite conversation. The guests, as always, are varied but carefully selected by Christie for maximum intrigue. At the center of it all is Arlena Marshall, a glamorous and provocative woman. A former actress, Arlena is beautiful, confident, and entirely accustomed to being the center of male attention. She's also the most hated woman in the hotel, not for what she's done, but for what people think she might do. The women resent her, the men admire her, and nobody trusts her. Arlena is married to Kenneth Marshall, a quiet, dignified man, clearly older and more restrained than his wife. With them is Linda, Kenneth's teenage daughter from a previous marriage, a moody, awkward girl who worships her father and visibly resents her glamorous stepmother. Poirot sees it all, the way Arlena flaunts herself, the way Linda shrinks, and the tight smile Kenneth wears whenever Arlena walks into a room. Arlena, however, appears uninterested in her husband's feelings. She has begun spending time, far too much time, with Patrick Redfern, a handsome young man staying at the hotel with his wife, Christine. Patrick is all boyish charm and enthusiasm, while Christine is delicate, pale, and withdrawn. It becomes quickly apparent to everyone, and certainly to Poirot, that Patrick and Arlena are having an affair, or at least something designed to look like one. Other guests include Major Barry, a retired military man with a loud voice and bluster, Horace Blatt, a rich boor obsessed with his boat and his money, Miss Emily Brewster, a spinster who enjoys tennis and honesty, and Rosamond Darnley, a poised and intelligent fashion designer who once had a past with Kenneth Marshall. Everyone observes everything, a glance here, a whisper there, and Poirot, as always, listens more than he speaks. Then comes the murder. One morning, Arlena goes off to a secluded cove, supposedly to sunbathe. Later, she is found dead, lying face down on the rocks, strangled. The sun is blazing overhead, the tide is low, and the body has been left in plain view, but the circumstances are anything but clear. Kenneth, devastated, claims he had no idea. Patrick, supposedly with Emily Brewster on a boat trip at the time, is shocked. Christine claims to have been hiking up the cliffs, conveniently alone. Linda is visibly shaken, perhaps more than expected. Everyone has an alibi, and yet none of them quite hold up under Poirot's scrutiny. The investigation reveals two key facts. The time of death appears to be late morning, and the only people without airtight alibis during that hour are Christine and Patrick. But there's a problem. Patrick discovered the body himself, crying out in horror when he came upon it. Christine, meanwhile, claims she was suffering from sunstroke and stayed in her room afterward. Neither seems likely, and both seem carefully staged. Poirot begins to probe the psychology. Arlena was a manipulator, but also manipulated. Christine, often underestimated, is not as fragile as she seems. And Linda, the quiet teenager, begins acting increasingly erratic. She tries to throw herself off a cliff and later confesses, falsely, to murdering her stepmother. Poirot comforts her and realizes she's hiding something. Guilt, yes, but not guilt over the murder. The truth lies in deception, staging, and time, and Poirot, ever the master of routine and rhythm, sees what others miss. He reconstructs the timeline and focuses on the alibis, particularly Christine's. Poirot discovers that Christine faked the time of death. On the morning of the murder, she took Emily Brewster up the cliffs and staged a watch-setting trick using the shifting sun and a synchronized clock to make it seem like it was later than it was. Meanwhile, Arlena had been lured to the cove by a note, believing she was meeting Patrick. Instead, Christine was there and Christine strangled her. Christine then returned to the hotel, posed as if suffering from sunstroke, and waited. Later, she and Patrick staged his discovery of the body, pretending to find it for the first time, but actually knowing exactly where it was. They had worked together, lovers in crime, to kill Arlena. The motive? Jealousy and money. Patrick and Christine were not innocents. They were con artists. Arlena had become a liability. She might have been too difficult to control, or perhaps she threatened to expose them. Killing her cleared their path to another scheme. The affair between Patrick and Arlena was a show, a setup designed to distract. Poirot confronts them with evidence, the sunburn trick, the shifting alibi, the psychological cracks in their story. Christine breaks down. The perfect crime had relied on the illusion of time and the fact that people would dismiss her as delicate and weak. Poirot saw past it. Arlena was not killed because she was unfaithful. She was killed because she was inconvenient, and because two people believed they were clever enough to deceive everyone. As the investigation closes, Kenneth is left shattered, Rosamond quietly supports him, and Linda, freed from the shadow of her stepmother and the guilt of a crime she didn't commit, begins to heal. Poirot, sun hat in hand, departs the Jolly Roger Hotel, having proven once again that the sun may shine brightly on the surface, but evil always lurks in the shadows. Don't forget to subscribe and watch another summary.